Dota and a little bit about beer. Today I'm joined with one of my great mentors into the process of Dota podcasting. And he and I used to be on a little known show called Tryhard Tuesdays. A show where we talked about how to improve yourself as a Dota 2 player for those who are very serious and were trying to be captains of teams, down to the people who were just trying to pick up a new skill, a new outlook, and just basically helped every person that we possibly could. Tonight, I am joined by this grand man himself, and he is the king of hype, the legend, one of the greatest people I've ever worked with, and someone I am lucky to call a friend. Andrew, now I never learned your last name, Andrew, but Andrew Sepich?
Let's leave it up to the imagination, but it's not how you said it. But, thanks for having me, dude. It's good to be here. I have changed my Twitter from the grand. By the way, you learned a lot about titles from me too, in terms of drum rolling the title. That's good. I like that.
I learned from the best, my friend. Learned from the best.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually ran into an auctioneer the other day. Before I even introduced myself, let me tell you guys the story. I ran into an auctioneer the other day, and he told me that there's a lot of skills that go into auctioneering that go into being a rapper. And he showed me with a beat on his phone while he just read out auctions. So like, there's a lot to be said about kind of Flubb's rolling intros, and I think they're fantastic introductions. I would not say you learned it all from me, sir. I think all the work has been your own. But thank you for the kind introduction. I'm the Grand Wazoo, guys, those that do not know me. And I was on a .p podcast. .p is Defense of the Patients. It's been a pretty big thing for the scene of podcasting in Dota 2, at least I would assume. They were very kind to us, giving us a show, and they're great guys over there. And we podcasted together for what? Several months? 6 months.
About 6 months, my friend. About 6 months.
Yeah, and it's interesting content to create when you're just kind of flying as you go. I mean, our show, as much as try hard might be a concrete term to some, it left a lot up to the imagination, and I think we really struggled when it came to topics and everything. But when we found it, we found that natural role. It was a very good thing to have, and so thanks for having me on, man. I very much appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. It was so much fun doing those in the past. It was more of two friends talking about Dota and really enjoying being there together than it really was. I mean, we were trying to help people out too, and we found some really good topics to talk about. And I would have to agree with you that we kind of played off of each other more than worrying about, oh, this is what we have to talk about today. We had a general theme, and we wanted to follow that theme, but it was more of a show that we were just two people very excited about Dota and brought people besides ourselves into the show that felt the same way. So it's very enjoyable, and I'm hoping we can create the same magic today.
Every single time, someone tells me how hard podcasting or something sounds, I always tell them to go do it. Because we're in the day and age where it's like simple, like if you have a concept that might catch and you think you might be able to find like-minded people that could listen to it, I mean, they really become your friends. And I've always been a very strong believer in the fact that even with who you work with or, who listens to your show, if you're not likable and you're not able to make them a friend, then you're not going to have very successful content. And that's what I tried to do with our show when we had it. And yeah, I mean, let's get into it. I'd love to see if the magic's still there. It feels like maybe we were high school lovers and now we're coming back years later to see if the chemistry's still there. And I hope it is, you could call it an indecent proposal or something.
Very good, man. Very good. I just wanted to make sure. So you're going into creative writing now, and that's like your job. You're going into like this. You're looking over the processing of. Well, what are you doing exactly? Because I'm still a little left in the dark about what you're up to nowadays, and I'm very excited to hear what you're doing.
So pretty much, after I stopped podcasting a ton, I was working on another project called Let There Be Geeks, which I was doing a general video gaming show. And that ended up being a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can talk about releases and stuff, but at the very, on the same coin, I'm not someone who plays a ton of games. Like, I love my Dota, I love my Counter-Strike, I play Path of Exile now too. I picked that up really hard. And so I have 3 gaming addictions. Each person tells me about those single addictions that Jesus, man, that's like heroin of games. But I have 3 of them and I function. So I don't know. But like, I think the love's all there for those games. But you know, I'm not picking up the Nintendo Switch when it comes out, even though I'd like to. You know, I'm not picking up any exclusives on consoles because I'm a PC gamer. And so it's like, I was just talking about these like I knew what I was talking about. And being disingenuous when you're like podcasting is pretty garbage. You know, you're not able to convey the point you want. And I found myself kind of sinking into a real routine when it came to like forming opinions on stuff I hadn't played, which didn't feel like it was a good thing to be doing if I wanted to like have that connection with the audience that I mentioned earlier, you know?
Mm-hmm. There's a disconnect there because you're not feeling so secure about the topic. You understand those things that you're really interested in, but you can't talk about all video games because you'll go to the small breadth. What is it? Breadth? Yeah, small. It's depth and breadth, I think it is, but it's a small
breadth. I think you can breadth.
Okay. Oh man.
And not like it's like Brett with a lisp kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's like I'm always like, man, am I saying this right? And then I end up saying it worse because I think I'm saying it with a lisp or something.
Just don't even question it. Just jump into the word fully, like you're jumping off a waterfall or something. But I've watched your show quite a bit, and Kimbrel, who you know I'm filling in for him. He's always been a long-time person that I've known in Dota, you know, from .p. I remember I kind of yelled his name, Kimbrel, like in such a very loud way in a game, and ever since then, I was like a very, very minor meme because, like, I don't know, I love that guy too. So what is he, on his honeymoon or something?
He is. Right now, he just got married last weekend. Wish him congratulations and everything, and he's still sending me tweets or texts every once in a while. Once in a great while, because he's on his honeymoon right now. So you know he's obviously.
That's great.
Yeah, he's doing well, man. He's on his honeymoon. He's in Alaska right now, actually. So pretty cool.
Good for you, Kimbrel. I guess my invitation must have got lost in the fucking mail, Brian. Anyway, moving on. Past Kimbrel now. No, I'm joking. Congratulations, Kimbrel. Seriously. So what is the general process? I feel like a guest here. Our roles are reversed.
Our roles are reversed, man. I was actually about to bring that up.
Yeah, you know.
You were the guy to bring me along and like kind of hone my ideas into a good shape and understand like what is Flubb, and I have to do that for Wazoo now, and I don't know if I can contain all that is Wazoo, but we're gonna try it tonight, and we're gonna.
I'm mainly a jackass, I would say.
You always like shoot yourself down, man, and you're like one of the nicest guys I know. It's just you're very passionate, and if someone upsets you, you're gonna be just as passionate as you are likable. Whenever you are, and you're normally likable, like 90% of the time, you're like, man, everyone's awesome, and I'm just super happy. So you always call yourself a jackass, but I always think the exact opposite.
I kind of use it in the terms, like, you know, like Shakespeare used the terms of fools, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like you're either like, I don't know. I don't know really how to put it, but I understand what you're saying. You're very kind, sir. To hear your growth is incredible. I've got my draft ready. I'm not drinking beer today. I'm drinking Lipton's iced tea. So I just want to stay sharp, and I have something going on later, so I will not be joining you in the beer section. Complete transparency here. But what are you drinking, man?
That's cool. I'm drinking Point. It's a classic beer that's from Wisconsin, I believe. It's something my dad always talked about growing up, and
Wisconsin or the beer?
Wisconsin. It's brewed in Wisconsin. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And he's originally from Wisconsin, so it's kind of like a thing that he like, it goes back into my old days, even though he like only lived there until he was like 10. So I doubt he was drinking Points back then, but
you never know. So aren't people from Wisconsin known for being very, very nice?
Yeah, and being like super into cheese, I guess. So like cheeseheads. They're like
two good things. Yeah. Because you got the Packers, right?
Yeah, you got the Packers, you got the cheeseheads. And
I mean, so there you go.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Minnesota is like more of the nicer side, but Wisconsin and Minnesota are like the two sides of the same coin that hate each other for some reason. So if you ever talk to someone who's from Wisconsin, don't like compare them to someone from Minnesota, but they're basically the same type of breed right there. Very nice.
Actually, I've never traveled east in my entire life.
Really?
No joke. It might as well not exist. Like, I know people come from there, but I've never, never. I mean, that I can think of. I'm very much a West Coaster. Utahns are not known for being very nice, but I think I see a nice Wisconsin streak in you, Flubb. I imagine you like cheese, so that must be a kind of genetic thing that's been passed down. Have you maintained your 5K status in Dota 2?
I've been bouncing, man. I maintained it for like 4 months, and then ever since then, there's been a couple of these patches where I just go up and down, up and down. So right now, I think I'm 4950 right now, but I got all the way up to 5,000, like 250 or 270 or something. So, you know, it fluctuates just like anything in Dota, but I'm pretty much staying around 5K at this point. It's been working out pretty well for me this last 7.0. Once I took it really seriously, I kind of soared up pretty quickly. So, how about you?
And now let's take the other. Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because so the international thing, the whole being able to re-rank and stuff, that's cool. But I feel like I was doing 3K games, and then I lost like 2. I lost 2 out of 10. And I'm at 25, like 60 or something, which really sucks. And I told my brother that because I was embarrassed, I told him it was at 2,800. So like, I guess whenever someone tells you their MMR, like subtract or add 300, and you might have the right number. But I feel like I've been playing the game for too long that like I'm still so bad at it. It's humbling. Like, but I find myself falling into the same old habits, and when I play seriously, then sure, I feel myself claw back up to that. And it really is clawing. I'm like, feel like I'm climbing a cement wall with my like nails, you know, because like, if I quit, I'd like regress into all these old behaviors. And I really wish I could figure that out with Dota, because it's not like that with like any other game, which is so strange.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I myself, I know you say 5K is like something that's like a great achievement in and of itself. You kind of get that way after you've been in a certain rut for a while. I mean, I was in the 4Ks for forever, and you look at yourself, and you always like look at your gameplay, and half the problem is that you're too crucial on yourself, right? A lot of times you're like, okay, I need to be better. I am better. So then you don't think that you should improve upon your own gameplay where you're at right now, and then you're just like, okay, I know I'm better than these guys. I know I'm not doing anything wrong, and then you don't see the obvious mistakes and the obvious patterns that form from it. So
yeah, it's really weird. I'm quite a confident person when it comes to like my job and what I do, but I'm not confident when it comes to games. Like in Counter-Strike Source or Counter-Strike Global Offensive, for instance, like when I rank up and I see that new badge, like I get flustered, dude. Like I'm asking a girl to prom or some shit. And like, I'm just like, I'm like, we're at a new level now. I psych myself out so hard that I screw myself. Like I feel like 3K was that for me in a lot of ways. And not to say like my mechanics are actually pretty good. And with the new deny meta and kind of being like that whole EXP change with the denies and stuff, like I played like that before a lot of the time.
Yeah,
which is strange. Like I know like better players do that, and that might sound super like really stupid and obvious. Like of course you go for the denies, but like I always like in my mind was practicing for last hits with my denies. I really wasn't thinking about the game impact whatsoever. I just was hitting what was there to be hit, you know. And like as this game has changed and grown in the last year, and I mean it's been a lot of changes, man. Like you've seen it move into an entirely new realm. In ways, new fans is younger kids are coming into the scene, and I've noticed that quite a bit in terms of what's popular with what's even Reddit. I mean, Reddit, like say what you will about it, it's a very good pulse of what's going on in the scene. As like each year passes and as these tournaments get bigger and bigger, we're drawing more and more younger talent into the scene, and makes me feel old and bad at the game and shit at Dota. And I guess that's the entire that's the entire thing.
Kids are just getting quicker, man. The people start understanding they have all this depth of Dota, and they can look back on these past years and understand all these different nuances and things that were not really available when with Dota 1 and Han, and it became more available as time went on at those points. But when you get into Dota 2, there's so much to look back on. And a lot of these kids are like 15 years old, but they've done all the research that I have, but they're 15 years old. Their reactions are just way faster at this point. And I mean, it's weird to say that because I'm still like, I'm 26. Like that's not like over the hill or anything. You know, you're still sharp-minded person. You're just nowhere near as fast as you were as a teenager. And it shows. Like, you see these guys that are coming in that are incredibly young. I mean, Sumail was one, Mid One's another. I forget how young Mid One is, but he's pretty young.
Well, you got that Meepo player too, and I haven't kept up on this. Abed, I mean, like he's a child prodigy coming into his own, and you know, I think you're going to see more and more. You know, I would even put No-Tail and people like Fly and PPD on that list because they were young kids who were focused, and look how it's paid off. I remember hearing a story, and this is like, I don't know, this is as far off of Dota as I'm going to get again, I promise. But of Tony Hawk going into a school counselor and being like, I want to skateboard for a living. And the counselor pretty much like laughing at him, being like, that'll never be a thing. And now look at that guy. Like, you've undoubtedly careened that guy off of a ramp at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and bashed his head on a pole you could grind on. Like, he's huge. Like, he has, you know, it's just like, it's the passion that sells. And I think like some of these kids, it's like, and people that are now growing, like even Fear, I'd lap onto that list, is like the passion is what pervades, and that's what makes you a great player or good at the game. And I do have quite a bit of passion for Dota, but nowhere near the amount of dedication that would ever bring me to any semblance of being considered good at the game.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, and it's also a strategic mind as well. Like, you can have these really good players, but if they didn't have their captains or their people around them to keep them level, like I Drink from Ham just said in the chat that Anna is 17, and he's a two-time major winner. And
I actually didn't know that. I did not know Anna was that young.
I thought he was like 18. I thought he was like 18, 19. That's why I didn't mention him. But yeah, he's really young. And we saw in the last True Sight, they had to like coach him and keep him up and just keep him alive because he was losing it halfway through the final series on True Sight, and all guys were like, oh, it's okay, man, remember when you were kicking ass earlier in like other tournaments, and man, you're really good, just focus on those times, don't focus on this last game that you messed up on. And it gave him the positive results to be able to do stuff, because like the game that he lost, he looked like he was going to spiral out of control, and that's the thing.
Well, let's open this up for conversation then. I'd really like to hear what you think on this. The whole thing with VP feeling misrepresented in True Sight. What do you think of that? Because I see two different paths here, and I saw one way that Reddit went, which was like, of course they're just, you know, they said that the Russians were wrong and they just filmed them doing what they do. But I feel like there's some cultural disconnect there, where screaming fuck or something for them, it means it has a different cultural value than it does for an English-speaking team. And I think that was the point that was trying to be made, which I kind of understand or sympathize with, at least. Them screaming that in the moment doesn't convey necessarily that they're freaking out, even though they might seem like they're to that level of like intensity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, whenever I played on any teams that I've ever had, I had the same level of intensity. And that's the thing, is like people always tagged me as, okay, Flubb is this nice guy that's always proper and doesn't like freak out. But like when we are on a team and you go into a match, you want to talk shit the entire time to make your guys feel like they are the ones who are going to win. Like during the draft, you're like, we got this, that was a dumb pick, we completely counter them, we are going to win. And that was like, that's the basic ideas. You look at the two coaches. Art style was that style. He was very aggressive in his commands. He was saying, okay, go in, these guys aren't worth your time. You know how to beat them. Just do it. And Mad was more of the style of, you guys are good. This is they have certain talents on their other team. Watch out for these different things. They're going to be a little bit stubborn. They're kind of attacking each other in a little bit of a different way. One was kind of doing, it wasn't necessarily passive aggressive, but he was more attacking their intelligence, and the other one was attacking their actual prowess and skill.
Interesting. You know who I've seen improve and actually been pretty impressed with, even though he's rarely talked about, is Bucky Man. Like I've seen that guy, and maybe he's not oftenly talked about, but like I just haven't seen it, I guess. Like he's obviously a great strategist for them. Like somehow that guy jives so well with OG that like they've gone. I don't think it's just the players with them. I think a lot of it is No-Tail's state of mind and Fly's leadership. And I think their new addition was honestly great pickups, and they did it when they were winning, you know? And when you see a team make big change-ups like that when they're winning, that's pretty interesting, right? Like it shows a deftness of skill that you only expect to see from teams when they're floundering. Which, I mean, you've seen these shakeups from Alliance and such that are, you know, like them dropping EGM. I mean, that was something that was not awesome for Alliance fans in a lot of ways, because it feels like a bit of the old Alliance has died. And for a team to do it when they're doing well, I mean, I think that says a lot about kind of dealing with those problems strategically and recognizing good behavior and being a good leader and realizing what will work and what won't.
Oh, most definitely. That's if you look at, okay, so if you're looking at these two teams, one team knows their weaknesses and the other ones don't. Like they know how strong they are and what they're capable of on OG, but they know that they still have problem areas, and they're always looking at those problem areas. I felt like Loda was definitely the problem on Alliance, and he just made some really weird decision makings when it got into the moment, and they kind of blamed that on EGM not following into his carry's decision, where that had really nothing to do with the whole problem in and of itself. It was Loda's indecision or Loda's decision at that point that kind of destroyed their draft and destroyed the way that they moved within that game. There's like, it was always came down to team fights, and whenever he played Naga, I actually thought that they should just like ban out that hero and never let Loda ever touch that again, because he did like 3 songs that lost games for them, and that shouldn't. At a pro level, that can't happen. It's not.
Well, it's his ego, a lot of it. I mean, like, I love the guy personally. He's probably one of my top 5 favorite Dota personalities. I don't know what that says about me, but I've met him. Like, I really enjoy him. I'll give you 3 reasons why I love him so much. One is that video when he's talking about TI, what is it, 2 or 3, where
Two.
Tong Fu was fountain hooked with that old punch bug by Navi, and he was saying that's not fucking balanced or something. How is that? No, it's how is that balanced? How is that balanced? And he's just like raging in the hall. Like I see that and I'm like, I felt exactly like that from Dota. I feel like he represents the type of Dota player that like doesn't give a shit if he keeps his cool, like in those moments.
Yeah.
And that's much to his detriment at times in terms of his play. I feel like it's weird. Like we went very philosophical on our show sometimes. Like I would like to think, and you know, we talked about kind of why we play the game or what gains we get from the game, I guess. And one thing for me is I feel like personality flaws and stuff like that, like they come out in a game of Dota. You know, in a weird way, if you're quick to rage or something, Dota will bring it out of you. It'll bring out your impatience. It'll bring out your willingness to, you know, go and take stupid risks. Like it pulls that out in a sense that like it makes us question ourselves. And I think that can be very frustrating to deal with.
Oh, definitely. And it's the stress. This game has so much different levels of stress and understanding and strategy at the blink of an eye that not being on the same page or understanding with your teammates, you can lose all respect that you once had for a style or a play that has worked many times over because you just didn't gel right in that one situation, and then it just explodes because it's like, okay, we've ran this 5 billion times, and one thing went a little awry, and we played it wrong, and it just causes so much stress and anguish to come out at that point that you feel lost and don't understand why your teammate did that, and then it just compounds on itself over and over and over, especially if you don't get it out. And that's kind of what happens on these teams that have players that have known each other for a really long time. They don't want to, they trust the other person just enough where they don't want to talk bad about them or talk or say like, why did you do this? And it kind of just bubbles up inside them, and then, you know, if they just talked it out like old friends should, then it all would have saved themselves in the long run.
A working relationship will change a friendship, though. I think like flying around the country and stuff, like you and I, like we could do it, I guess. Like just go do a, you know, like let's like go cover Dota events or something. Like it sounds awesome in the beginning because it's like, you know, this person will be there, but then you start to rely on that person for your livelihood. And for these players, it's not always livelihood, let's say. Some it is, some teams it definitely is. Mm-hmm. They've devoted their life to this. Someone else I've had the pleasure of meeting is Demon. And I feel like for a while there, like I'm sure from last year's placing from the international, like the guy's not hurting too much at all, but like that's someone who gave his life to Dota. And I think Jimmy's such a smart guy that he could absolutely do anything he wanted. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel that way about a lot of Dota players. I don't think there's many people, maybe Eternal Envy, who like Dota is the career path. I'm joking. I love Envy as well. Like I've also met him. And it's like this career path that we've been told our entire lives it's not a career path, all of a sudden is. And it's pretty interesting to see like how much it takes. Like some of these kids are millionaires, man. Like it still blows my mind to look at financial information and how much money Valve has kind of pumped into Dota, and also how much people are still pumping into Dota that's not Valve. I mean, as they've raised the bar, everyone else too has. You know, it's a different esports world.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
But I was just running my mouth. I forgot where I got to or where I came from.
We were talking about like True Sight, and there's a lot of different things that we were kind of going into. We were talking about we wanted to talk about the whole what was lost there in True Sight, because you were talking about that they were misrepresented, and
right, we got way off. We haven't done this in a while, so we're a little bit off. But what I think it comes down to is you know, one team lost and one won, and the person making the documentary or whatever was there to build a narrative, and the narrative they built was not flattering to VP, you know. And like it's a different culture, man. Like look, like they complained about showing them smoking, you know, like, but the truth is like a vast majority of Russian men aged, you know, even 15 to 30, 40 up, all of them smoke. Like a good chunk of them smoke, you know, like, and it's just it's a statistical thing that like if you were to pull like 5 out of, you know, like 5 out of 10 would smoke out of like a sample of 10, you know what I mean? Like it's just that high. And like to say you're going to do these behaviors and like you're fine with being shown in this light, but then complain later when it is shown, I think that's why they're getting the most shit for it, because it feels disingenuous.
Yeah, I honestly, I know that people feel like there's like these guys are the good guys, these guys are the bad guys. I didn't get that feeling from it. I felt that when you got into the game and you saw what was happening, and you saw when they took losses and wins and things like that, it was more representative that VP are a team that are very, very emotional. They take losses very hard. They take wins very, very well. And they were like joking and laughing and kind of like ripping on each other when they were all huddled up at the end there when it was 2-2 because they just won the last series. They're like, "Oh man, your armpits smell." And like, "Why are we doing this?" And they're like kind of like joking with each other. It was like brotherly love type situation, and it was funny to see. It was just whenever you saw the losses, you saw them freak out quite a bit at that point. And it was honestly a lot of the freakouts, like I was saying, it was art style. Like, art style is just more of an aggressive guy. He's more emotional than Bucking Mad is. And when you kind of take that type of coach, you're going to have your losses are going to be that much worse when your coach is not able to. He was trying to rally through aggression. He was trying to be like, "You guys got this. Don't give it up. Yeah, you screwed up."
And it works. Like, as a side note to that, it works sometimes, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, to just, I mean, if you've ever played any type of sport, you know, really, like, I someone else I podcasted with, Mr. Blue 22, he told me once, like, some people who get like this mad, like, you know, like maybe they didn't play sports in high school or something, because it's true. I mean, the level of competitiveness or how you think about competition or what you think is acceptable, I mean, there's a line there. And you got people on one side who really enjoy Dota from, you know, I would argue kind of a sports perspective, where it's like it's a 5-on-5 sport, kind of like, you know, that you can make a lot of sports methodology relation to when it comes to like basketball 5-on-5 sport. You got soccer that you can make, you know, like I've heard Dota compared to so many sports, you know, and it's because it has the depth of one, I think, is a large point there. Not necessarily that it resembles any sport, but it's true. Like, what people define as acceptable when it comes to a competitive environment is vastly different. It's different culturally. Like, I think that this last truth site showed it to us interestingly in a maybe not more different way, because the last one was pretty interesting with the whole Malaysian concept and you know, Mushi living with like in his mom's house and his mom fully supporting that's an interesting cultural perspective. Mm-hmm. But this new one, I mean, I think the point they were trying to make in that post was just that they felt like because they didn't speak English, they were misrepresented, you know? And that's a pretty valid point when it comes to the globalization of esports. It's like, are you talking about something that's going to put the American as the good guy, and are not the American even, because, you know, none of them are American really, but the English speaking person as the good guy, you know, like, and I think that's the point that was underlying there. But I don't know. I just thought that was interesting in the past week or so. What about you? Like, we can close it out.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're definitely gonna actually talking about the draft here soon. But personally, for myself, I felt like when I was watching the video, like there's never going to you're going to be misrepresented. Communication is a really big, hard thing to understand. That you use very little. You use a lot of facial expressions, nonverbal communication. There's a lot that goes into every type of understanding of what someone's talking about, and that's why I like to do conversations one-on-one, and why I'm a big fan of podcasts in general, because you at least hear the tone in their voice. You can hear a inflection. You can hear a lot of different nuances that you can't normally hear when you're typing. Like, typing something, especially typing sarcasm, drives me up the wall, because you can never truly know if they're kidding or not. And that's why you gotta
have a 3 rule. Like, okay, this might not work for Dota, but if you don't understand their tone in 3 messages, I've always, like, this is what I've learned with girls, then you got to give a call and you got to get a read on the tone. Like, you can't just judge tone. And I think a lot of I think there's a lot of microaggression when it comes to Dota 2. Like, as unpopular of a term as that is lately, for whatever reason, like, I feel like a lot of people are genuinely pretty salty at times, like, even for the smallest mistakes, that, like, they will later on punish you for those, like, in micro ways, psychologically, to, like, fuck with you later on. Like, I've noticed that a lot. Maybe I'm just looking way too into Dota, but I don't know, dude.
It's something that happens when me and you get together, man. We go, like, deep into the psychoses of Dota, and we're like, oh man, what if they're thinking this? What if they? Because me being so interested in the language, and you being so interested in the mental aspect, we just go deeper and deeper and deeper. We could talk for hours, man.
But yeah, we obviously don't want to. We got to move on.
We do. So
let's get to the Brewmaster's draft. So, guys, part of my contractual obligation was also to provide soundboard effects.
It's true. It's true. I hired him on.
Flubb.
All right, so man, let's hear your draft. Let's hear the picking phase, the bands. Go through your idea. Talk, like, I'll give you like 10 minutes. If you want to talk less, that's fine. But just go through your draft. Tell me what you're feeling for picking in bands and why you're doing so.
All right. All right. I'm looking for it right now. There it is. All right. So I'm picking first or banning first?
You are going to be, well, that's up to you. Do you want to, well, you pick and ban first. So if you're going to have first pick, you're going to have first ban. So are you going to go for the first pick where you pick and then you let the other guy pick the next two? Or are you going to let them have first pick and then you're going to pick?
I'm gonna pick first man because there's only one man to pick.
Okay. All right.
I was playing there's like all these draft simulators on the internet actually that you can go and play with, and I told the guy reported in a draft simulator if he didn't hurry up because I didn't have a lot of time. So you can't actually report on that thing. But I'm gonna pick Sven first.
Okay. Okay. So you're gonna pick Sven first, and then.
Oh yeah.
Where are you gonna go from there? Sorry, so the idea here is you just talk it out. I'm gonna try to tell you what I could have done to counter your draft, but not necessarily I can't pick against you. I'm not gonna be like.
Well, why didn't you ban against me?
Okay, all right. We'll switch it up for this week. We'll switch it up.
So whatever you want to do, man.
So you're gonna ban. Who are you gonna ban first? Who you gonna ban?
Lion.
Okay. Lion.
I feel like the pause there was I don't know what first ban material is these days, but what would you ban there? Do you think if you're gonna
starting off the game at this point? I would ban Jakiro or Sven. Actually, and it's funny that you pick up Sven first because I think that it's strong. And me personally, I go with Sven because he has a lot of potential right now and what he's available to do. And
what he is the boy that has so much potential, no one ever realized it, and now people are realizing it. I've been a long Sven supporter, the whole Rogue Knight thing, being exiled. I mean, it's something that honestly, it's near and dear to my heart in terms of the lore. It always has been, and I've got I got a cool Sven sword that Gothier gave me that I still am rocking to this day. So
nice. Well, the idea is that I love him so much is the change to his ultimate. Adding that strength bonus over the just pure damage, it's comparable for damage because it multiplies that itself. And
the resurgence of the Mask of Madness too. It's you're seeing that come up. I'm seeing a lot of people at games that are 5K plus building sometimes mask and armlet, and so you're they're functioning in different spheres now when previously in Sven builds they really weren't. I mean, you would get one or the other. And now it's just it's just Sven on crack or something. He's the hero I've always wanted to see him be.
Being able to disassemble a Mask of Madness is one of the greatest boons of that item ever. And making it so that it was not just a recipe. That was awful. Just the bland recipe. Now it's just you can pick it up straight from the side shop. That's so awesome. You can pick it up from the side shop immediately, and then you can make it into another item, break it down later you can go, what I love to do for Sven is I like to use that item to then go into Echo Saber, and it's amazing. And then you have lifesteal and Echo Saber. And you can then go into your armlet at that point as well. So personally, I just fear Sven. That is one of my first bans this patch. But there's also plenty of others that are really good. So I'll go Jakiro, Sven, and it also depends on what you're trying to do with your draft. If you're trying to go away from minus armor, there's a lot of times where I can band out. I'll sometimes still band out Slaughter. There's some situations where that can work. Honestly, dive is such a big deal, and lane control is such a big deal right now. I have been banning Spirit Breaker out a lot, and Bristle. Oh man, Bristle's potential right now is crazy. Just you want to go for that mid game, and he's one of the strongest. And then there's also the ones that you also want to consider people who can play. Visage is really crazy good, but not a lot of people play him. And who else? Well, I did say Jakiro, but I didn't say why. Jakiro is just crazy good right now. His potential for lane harassment and then push potential is crazy. He can solo push as a 5 support faster than some carries. And if you just go your 2 slows, then he has a lot of potential of just locking someone out, keeping them really low, and he can even be a mid. Oh man, he's so good.
Yeah, slows are very valuable in this meta. And you know, you were talking about Visage, and that's another hero that has seen a lot of play in the past. I mean, you saw him around TI 3 times where he was just like super great. I mean, like he was someone that like he was like the Meepo of supports or something, where like if you could play it really well, it was like a trick that you had up your sleeve. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to see him come back because he's a very versatile hero that has, you know, interesting stun, interesting push. He's got so much going for him. I'd love to see him come back. I think it'd be interesting for the game.
Oh yeah.
But are you picking against me, or like how are we doing? Am I just giving my draft?
So you basically just give out your draft.
Nice.
I will try to counter the idea of it. If you want, we can just go back and forth, and I can do like a pick ban type thing. But generally, this is like normally you just say your piece about your draft, what you had in mind, what bans you would do to kind of go up against any opposition that you'd have, and I'd be like, oh, well, I can pick this or that, or you know, kind of go from there. So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just say my draft because I got all my friends in there. So, okay, I get the 1 ban. So then next I would pick, and I'm gonna pick Jug.
Okay. So I banned. So you got the Jug now. All right. So you got your Sven and your Jug on your first 2 picks. All right.
This is gonna sound really, really stupid, but depending upon the mid lane, I'm going to switch the Sven or the Jug mid. And if it's like a magic intensive lane, I'm going to throw the Jug. And if it's a more like physical intensive lane, I'm going to run the Sven.
Interesting.
I've been watching some trends with Sven running mid, and it's actually pretty interesting. And like I've heard some pretty good points made for it that like if the lane's so bad for your Jug mid that you can't handle it, then you can swap in the Sven to kind of like pick up the slack. And I'm going to ban twice here.
Yep. You banned 2 in the beginning. You banned 2. You picked 2. Then you
because 2. I was the first pick. I thought so. I would.
Mm-hmm. So you picked 2. You still ban the banning phase is still 2, and then it's
right.
Pick 2, and then
I banned Sand King.
Okay, Lion Sand King makes sense. Now who would you ban into the second phase?
I'm gonna get rid of Medusa.
Okay.
And Ember Spirit.
Medusa and Ember. Interesting.
Interesting in a bad way or a good way?
I'm thinking it's. I could see why you're doing it because you don't want the super magic damage from Ember, but I kind of feel like Juggernaut could take that, right? He could just kind of spin down the problem. I do like the Medusa ban though, because you can. It's kind of a catch-22 when you have Juggernaut. Juggernaut can kind of work versus her because you're just like both farming the lane and you can spin.
Well, Mana Shield's gonna fuck any sort of good Omni, like even if you catch her out.
Right.
And I figure like you're gonna spin to get out of magic damage, and if she ults, like you're kind of screwed if she just like knows how to use it well. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I got rid of her. I banned Ember because I just don't like playing against him. But I know that stuff's been nerfed more or less, like kind of the whole Veil build and stuff. But I guess is he picked as prominently, or what's the hero sitting at?
He's still picked pretty often. It's only really magic build anymore. That's kind of ever since the talents have been dropped, he's pretty much the magic build guy. No one really goes right click, and he's picked up because people are very good with him, and he's still in the pro level scene. He's still someone who can be easily taken advantage of because he has so many nuances to the hero that you can zip around really quickly, take advantage of the TPs and a lot of different things like that. So yeah, he's still definitely a hero. I just wouldn't say he was as prominent as he was like a couple patches ago. He's still a very strong hero and still picked up quite a bit because there's so many mid players that are just crazy good at the hero. Honestly though, I think that there's other ones that kind of are more on the top tier at this point. A lot of people really enjoy Lena right now. She's has a lot of potential. If they do pick up Lena, TA is pretty popular right now. Ember's still really popular. Sometimes they'll run like some weird stuff going on mid. They'll run. Uh, they've been running like Earthshaker versus a PA because he now has True Strike in that scenario. There's the option of Bristleback if there's like a melee mid. So there's a lot of different things that people are running now. Even Co-op's coming back a little bit here and there. So
how much is that? How much has the mid position changed with the addition of shrines? And granted, it's not as good now as it was when they were up and going at minute 0. But you know, how has that changed what the mid position means when you can just go and immediately, more or less, get a free life early on in the game?
Well, they don't come up till minute 5, so a lot of times.
Which is a good balance. I mean, that's
oh, yeah.
a patch note I looked at, and I was like, all right, that's how it should have always been. Like, because those are way too strong before minute 5.
Oh, most definitely. And the thing now is that harassment and lane dominators are definitely the meta. As like I Drink from Ham just said, that there's the lane dominators are the high tier, like SF and TA are good examples. And it's kind of goes into hand in hand with what you were talking about earlier. If you're going for the last hit and denies, it's going to really help you out your lane because you do get that extra creep in mid, and it's available to kind of use that pushing potential to push out the lane even harder now because there's one more creep in the wave. So that's why some people. I mean, Lena was already popular in the last patch, but this patch she's still really popular because you can still nuke down the entire wave, do a lot of potential with the last hits, get really good denies, and still push the tower incredibly hard because you have an extra creep now. Whereas you have to wait 15 minutes for that before. And it's just kind of gotten to a point where people are more worried about just dominating the lane in general. And that's why I thought it was interesting when you chose Sven and Juggernaut already. It does make a lot of sense, though. I didn't think about that you could switch them out and have Sven take care of anyone that's an armor problem. If there's someone who's going to do a lot of physical damage, you can switch him in mid, and then you can switch the Juggernaut in the safe lane. It's definitely an interesting idea. It does double up on the melee though immediately, and there's some problems with that. There's some ideas that you could go against that, but I'm liking your draft so far. You got magic taken care of. You got physical taken care of on a little bit on both ends, and you got a way to regen yourself up. Where are you going to move from here?
Okay, so I have taken 1 ban or 2? No.
You've done 2 bans. You've done Lion and Sand King. And now you're into your second phase of bans, which is 2 more bans.
Lion, Sand King,
and then wait. And then you did Medusa, Ember. I'm sorry. So you've done all 4 of your bans, and you've taken those out. Now you have your picks again. So what are you going to be picking?
Sven, Maiden, Jug. I'm going to take Bristleback.
Okay, we got the Maiden and the Bristleback. Smart. What's your ideology there? What's your thinking there?
He just bugs me, so like I'd rather have him than be bugged by him. Like honestly, lately he feels strong. I think there's a hero that's coming back, and he's going to kind of redirect more of that physical to the point where I don't see him being shut down very hard, like by very many heroes in this meta. Like, what do you think?
I think that there's a lot available for this 4 lineup. There's one, you can do some stacking with Crystal Maiden and farm off the stack a little bit by helping yourself out using the ice block thing. Forgetting it right now, but she can farm herself and stack at the same time, giving her a little bit of an advantage while being able to help them out in all lanes. All 3 of those heroes really are mana dependent. So it helps out to have someone like a Crystal Maiden giving them that constant mana, and that is very helpful. The one thing that I say about your draft right now, though, is that Crystal Maiden can't be very much of a harasser. She can a little bit if she has another support with her, but right now she's just by herself. She's got a little bit of harassment that she can do. Her right click's not the strongest, and you got these big tanky guys. So they could deal a lot of harassment on you without being really punished at this point. So
just by, yeah, that makes sense. And like I said, I'm just picking heroes I like or combos I like, and I feel like the Sven Maiden combo when they're both, you know, decently good, I have to take that. Have to.
Yeah, it is strong. You are able.
It's one of those classic combos.
Yep, Stormhammer being able to be spammed is very, very strong. So I do tend to agree with that situation. They could harass you in the very beginning, but there is a lot of stun potential there, especially if they only have one guy in the off lane. And if you do get the bristle and they don't get a tanky or off lane, you can really punish that, most definitely. Because well, at least the grab is instant. And with the new root mechanics, you can't blink out of it or phase shift out of anything that's going on like that. So the stun coming out from Sven can be instantaneous, a little less, doesn't have to be instantaneous, it can just go and hit them, like versus a puck or Quap. So
you've got good setup when it comes to the Maiden too. Like,
I think, you know, her freeze is incredible with Sven because there's no physical attacks, right? You can still cast, but maybe one of the big flaws in my draft is I'm not banning out for the off lane where I should be, but I don't know.
Maybe I would actually think that you're so far with your draft at this point. I want to see what you're going with at the end here, but the problem is that you don't have anybody who's going to, like, all the people who are going to destroy your lanes are the guys that I'm worried about. Ursa is the one I'm super worried about for your draft. If you had an Ursa on any three of those lanes, he's just going to smash that guy up and deal lots of damage. And that's kind of the thing, right? You don't want to be melee versus Ursa, and you already got 3. And then there's like the same thing with like Viper, Razor, Spirit Breaker, those guys that are just going to get up on top of you and take you out from that point, right? Take you out of your lane. But
so you're talking about those map roamers like you were talking about from earlier, which is kind of something that you see as pretty dominant in the meta.
It's getting less popular as time moves on because it's more about lane dominating than it is about roaming. But Razor being able to steal your damage and making sure that you can't last hit, or Viper being able to just guarantee last hits versus you is incredibly strong. Or, you know, Ursa, same thing. If you're melee, you can't get up close. It's all about denying the last hits from the other player and getting your own last hits, guaranteeing that you are going to be the one who's winning your lane. Spirit Breaker is kind of just stupid right now, and he just makes every lane worry about that no matter what because he's Spirit Breaker.
I know. Okay, so you kind of made me think more and more about my last ban here. Because I still have one ban, right?
You do have one more ban.
I want to ban out Spectre if he hasn't been
Spectre. Okay.
Yeah. We've talked about this global presence, no hard carry with such a big impact left in the pool at this time in the game, I think, other than Spectre. I mean, like, sure, he'd probably get destroyed by like a late game Sven or something, or Jug, with like a diffusal if you build diffusal and shit like that. But I think he has, if the draft was kind of oriented around this kind of presence that you're talking about, if you get the Spirit Breaker and, you know, this type of global heroes, I feel like he would very much feed into that.
Yeah.
Were you testing me, teacher? Like, I guess that's what I'm saying.
No, the global presence isn't quite as bad as, because Spectre's more about destroying them when they're low, right? So he makes food of Crystal Maiden for sure, but the other 3 heroes, Jug's okay if he goes in on if Spectre goes in on him, because he's like, okay, you're probably going to put yourself all by yourself if you're jumping out on me. If you're not, then I'm just going to spin away and reduce your magic damage that you're going to do, your You're not going to be able to do the diffusal blade style. You're not going to be able to get the radiance burn on me. So there's a little bit of counter reaction that he has versus her. He also has a way to heal, and kind of making sure that she's melee kind of gets around that, whereas other heroes can get like more explosive on him. If you look at Bristleback, I think that your draft is actually really good versus a Spectre, because Spectre's so crappy in the very beginning, man. Her potential late game is very strong, but if you can put someone that's very aggressive on her, like a Bristleback, with Crystal Maiden giving him that constant regen, she's just not going to have the same lane presence as another carry would.
So what would be the optimal ban in your opinion?
I think it's Ursa, man. I really think it's Ursa. Like, there's...
You told me that. Ah, fuck. I'm a dumb kid in class. You're like, you know what I'd be worried about? This is going to be on the test. Ursa. Hey, one more time. Ursa. And then I banned Spectre, which is like, yep. You know, this is why I'm not good in Dota. I don't know. Ursa has not really been that relevant to me as a player, and kind of as I've seen in the meta, even though like I'm not watching pro meta too much anymore. You know, like I think I watched the finals of Kiev, and that's about it. You know, that's all I've seen in the past probably 4 or 5 months. But it's interesting, right? Like those things that are right in front of your face in Dota very much kind of slip under the door, so to speak, and you don't really like. I don't know. I didn't even see that because you even told me, you know, and I was like focused on my own, I guess my own prejudices when it comes to certain heroes.
Yeah, and that's what you bring into it. You bring into those own feelings, and honestly, your draft isn't like versus an Ursa. You still have a lot of heroes that are decently able to stop Ursa, so it's kind of like a catch-22. I just think that you have so many melee guys that it's a problem. And if you were to, like, Bristleback, yes, he has the quills that are going to be spraying constantly, so it's not really going to kill him as much. But the thing is the damage is just so much. It's like, yeah, you're going to lose 30% of the damage, but he's stacking his stacks of those Fury Swipes get insane. And it's kind of like a thing that you don't really think about because you think that he can tank through anything. And Sven, he gives a bunch of armor to everyone, and the Ursa Swipes are physical. So there's certain things about your draft that still help you out. It's just if your last pick is a melee, then you're going to want to ban out that Ursa, because the only person that's going to be able to hit from her range is Crystal Maiden, and she's going to be the only one who can build you that Force Staff to get away.
How did you know that my last pick was a melee, you cheater?
Maybe.
And it's a way out there pick. It's Lycan jungle, baby. I told you it was Legion. I was mind gaming you, dude. From the start, mind gaming you, dude. Like it was meta draft, dude. And this is Lycan, which is my last pick. And I'm gonna run him jungle. Jungle's way better now. Don't sigh. I can hear the audience sighing.
I might be sighing, man. Jungle, oof.
Yeah.
Me and Kimbrel have yet to have a jungle draft. You are the first one to have a jungle draft, my friend, and I'm happy. I'm happy that you are the first one to do it. Let's hear it. Let's hear this jungle. You are the Lycan master, so I want to hear it.
He's not okay. This is how much I'm gonna piss everyone off here. I'm also going to not have him build Necro or anything like that. I'm going to have him build the Mask of Madness into Armlet.
Oh, dude, that is... I'm 100% behind that build. Like, Mask of Madness into Armlet is stupid good right now. Yeah.
Some people have told me that's stupid. Maybe that's just my pubs.
Your pubs are stupid, because that is an incredible item.
You're just farming, you hit level 6, you run out, you fucking get a gank. You go back to jungle, you farm a shit ton, you run out, you get a tower. You know what I mean? Like, your job is just to still do the whole Lycan thing, because wolves are really good. And plus, when you hit 25, like, you can pick up more wolves. Like, that's kind of solves the whole problem of, in a strange way, that solves the whole problem of the Necro entirely. If you really want to pick up that 25 talent of getting those 4 wolves, like, sure, you don't get the benefits of a Necro, but you still have, you know, the punching power to just push through buildings as if you had a Necro.
I mean, he is the hero. Like, if you think of any hero that can be silenced for X amount of time, he is the hero that can do it. You pop Hal, you have your wolves out already, you have your ultimate going already. All right, you have no spells that you can cast. Hit that button. You use the toggle correctly to keep yourself alive, because it is an easy item to kill yourself by losing all that armor, and it doesn't give any bonus spell armor anymore versus you, spell resistance. So where it used to, you used to take bonus damage from spells. So now the armlet cancels that out, gives you bonus health. It is incredible combination, man. I'm 100% behind that build. I never see it in the jungle though. I've never seen Lycan jungle in this meta, in this patch yet. But it's not saying that it can't be done. And
what I'm saying is a lot of the attitude of this meta has been defined from the previous jungle rules. Mm-hmm. You know, which was spawns not every minute. You know, it was every odd minute or whatever it was. So now, like, okay, they have lowered what you can gain from the jungle. I'm just putting it here because it's comfortable. And if I knew everyone was doing their job, I feel like I could make an impact with that build into the game. Like, at least at my level, you know, and like, I don't know how else to draft except draft for my level kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's the purpose of the show, man, is the draft. Tell me about your perfect draft, and then I would tell you possible ways that I could see the enemy team maybe coming up into countering you. Like, at this point, I would say...
Let me translate. I'm going to translate this from nice for everybody. You bring on your draft, and I'll tell you why it's shit.
I wouldn't say it.
You say it nicely. No, because it's all subjective. But at the same time, like, you know, I guarantee, like, perhaps I should have even picked the lion instead of banning it, because it's not something that's going to get banned out that early, and I feel like it would give more control in the lane. You know, like, there's always these things that, like, when you're thinking about it, you don't think about till later. You know, kind of like the George Costanza, where you think of the perfect comeback later on, or you're in the shower later and you think about what you should have said, you know. And it's that kind of thing. You know, it's like the most obvious things aren't always obvious in the moment.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I do that on this show all the time, man. There's so many things where I'm like, oh man, I could have thought of that, even with like 4 hours of prep before this show, I'm like looking over different ideas that I could do, especially when it's my turn, when Kimbrel's doing the idea of trying to break down my draft. It's looking... Have you ever done debate in high school or in college or anything? Did you ever do debate?
No, but I forgot my lines a couple of times when I was doing theater, which was, it's the worst feeling ever. You almost like, you feel like you're going to piss yourself or something. But I came up with something, you know, and like, I've had a lot of friends tell me a lot about how much debate has given them for, you know, keeping on your toes when things go askew kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's about understanding. It's not... A debate is not about understanding your topic to the nth degree. It's about understanding their topic versus you, and that's kind of the whole thing. What the way I look at drafting, it's how am I beating myself, and how am I going to destroy every point that I bring up, and I kind of go back to every single little thing, and I say, okay, what's the best way to stop this here? What's the best way to stop that here? What's the best way to stop team fights or pushes, or you know, you take all these little bits of it, and it takes a while, and thinking about it in that instantaneous moment is not always the easiest thing to do. But that's why when you get into this section, like into something like this, you can't beat yourself up over it. You just look at, oh, this is what my idea is, and the perspective that you'll see from someone else is going to shine through. But it's not necessarily the right thing to do either. Because, like I said, if you banned Ursa at that last bit, you still have Sven and Bristleback, some things that work between them to stop him up. Or if you use your Crystal Maiden just right, and he uses his ultimate, and then you Frostbite him and keep him locked down, he's not going to be able to make those attacks. And then you just move back, use all your stun, use your Sven stun, your goo on him with Bristleback, keep him locked out. And
I've let him get one swipe off, and just as he's about to hit the second one, the Maiden freezes him.
Exactly. Exactly. See?
We got to mind game these bitches, Flubb. That's what they're not teaching you in podcast school. I turn into Rick from Rick and Morty.
I could be Morty, man. You could be my Rick. That's okay. I'm down. Yeah, okay. I'm down for that. We travel the Dotaverse.
Yes, you see, Flubb, you know. You're really smart. Sorry, it's bad. I haven't watched it in so long because it's on break. Like I can do Morty better. I mean, come on, Rick.
I don't think I could do either, man. Well, come on, come on, Wazoo. We can do this. We can make a draft.
All right, now that I'm actually challenged to do it, I gotta get my Rick down, dude. Here, I'm gonna throw the Rick down.
All right.
Come on, Morty. All right. Come on. Like, you're not the smart Morty. Fuck. It was all fucked up back there, Morty. There you go. That's all I got.
Not bad, my friend. Not bad. All
right. It was pretty bad. I could tell because I could translate that from nice language into mean language. And like, it's somewhere in between. It was shit.
It was good, man. You haven't seen it in a while, and I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm not the best. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. There you go, 7 out of 10 for you.
That's a C. That got me through high school, so it's good enough now. But it's been great being on the show, man. How do you close it?
So
I feel like I'm walking a new house.
Well, do you want to talk about any? We did talk about the items a little bit. Is there any other parts of this draft that you want to talk about on items besides the whole your liking idea here? Is there anything that you feel like
I just know what I know what I shouldn't have done, because even now it's like you could get like a diffusal for the Spectre or something, just so you can slow her every time she haunts in or something with the jug. And so that makes more sense for the Ursa. The only thing I would change is probably the Ursa.
Okay, that's cool.
Like that's probably a smart thing to do. I'm still not thinking about the game on those levels though, which is insane for a game I put like 2,000 hours into. I don't know. I'm not the best Dota player.
Nah, man. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk this out and figure out what the best drafting is, and just have fun and drink a few things, whether it's beer, tea, doesn't matter. We had AG was sipping on whiskey last week, so it's not always necessarily the most coherent times whenever we're here, but we have fun. So, but the last thing that we always do in the show before we go into closeout is we always rate the beer, or you can rate the tea, and we rate it by thunderclaps because obviously this is the Brewmaster's draft. So I'm going to have you go first this time. How do you rate your tea? How many thunderclaps are you going to give it out of 5?
Okay, so it is a calm experience. So I'm going to rate it as just as soon as they split, you're under the enemy tower, and then he hits you with that fucking rock, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then you run away because it's like you were just warned. Like you just run away, and like it's a calm time. You go back to fountain, sip some fountain tea, and like you just chill. Like that's... So, like, I guess 3.5.
3.5? Nice. All right, 3.5 thunderclaps. I'm going to give mine 4.5 thunderclaps. I really enjoy this beer. It's got a special place in my heart. It's their special lager, so not only is it point beer, but it's their special lager, and I like lagers. And this is just a really good beer. And also, obviously, when I first started drinking at age 21, right, no drinking before that. It kind of brings back that nostalgia from that point. So, there's some really good emotions that I associate with this beer. Not only that, so take it with a grain of salt, but I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 thunderclaps. And honestly, that's where we're going to wrap up the show. Unless you got anything else that you want to say, Wazoo. Give you a minute here.
Thanks a lot, guys. I don't have a big speech prepared, but I just want to thank Flubb for having me on. It's always nice to surround myself with people that are good at Dota, because sometimes it confuses me into thinking I'm good at Dota. And the game is hard and changing. I think there's kind of, like, as I talked about earlier, like this game is not like riding a bike. If you let the kind of that growth lapse, then you fall behind. And I see that a lot in terms of my own skills. But, you know, that casual audience, I mean, these are people that just tune into TIs, and these are people that maybe catch a major or two a year, maybe just a couple games. So it's interesting to think about those players as well, because that's a huge audience that enjoy the game. And I think as we move towards a more mainstream arena, it's really interesting to think about those people. And that's just what I've been thinking about lately, is that as I see myself kind of incorporate Dota as an experience just for, you know, my life, like for a couple games a week, it's really interesting, you know? Like, I view this game as something that in 20 years, me and my brother are going to sit down and, you know, do a solo mid against each other or something. It's kind of like a way of life in a weird way. But that doesn't mean that, you know, you got to be a pro at it or anything. So I don't know. I guess that's what's on my mind. It's definitely here to stay, and that's what's cool about it.
Oh, most definitely. I've gotten to the point where, you know, you look at this game, and I've been playing it since Dota 1, so, you know, it's actually been 10 years now, man. 10 years of playing, like, basically the same game. If you consider Han and Dota basically the same game as Dota 2. And it's amazing how long it's kept and how much it grows over time and how much the community grows. I mean, people talk about how bad the community is nowadays, and there's some pretty awful people in Dota 2 right now. But overall, it's actually gotten way better. Since it's like a legitimate game, and there's people that are actually banning, and there's no like manual ban list that you have to sign up for anymore. This game has gotten to a whole new level of how nice and great it is, and it's not going to go away, because we're always growing every more and more, and the fans are diehard, man. Even if you get out of the Dota game, you're still going to watch it, you're still going to enjoy it, and it takes a lot of skill to do. It takes a lot of skill to do. So, all right, so cool. We're going to close out the show from here, and I actually have a few announcements on that before we actually close out. So first off, I wanted everyone to know here, I kind of have hinted at it a little bit in a few of my casts, but me and Toffees are kind of having, not really, we're splitting. I'm still going to be under the Toffees name, but we are working out on a new type of arrangement for ourselves. I'm probably going to be moving in the next month. We are going to have my own channel on Twitch, and I'm going to be casting a lot less on his. You're still going to be able to find all of our stuff on his YouTube channel and kind of go from there. If you want to do that, we're also going to be going through his podcast station right now, but I'm basically going to be getting my own podcast station and my own Twitch to work on with Kimbrel. So if you want to try to keep updated at these different places, you can go to, for the next month, you can go to our Twitch, twitch.tv/Toffees_Dota2. If you want to go to our YouTube channel, and we'll still be there pretty much for as long as Toffees will have us, 5 Gaming. And for the next month, if you want to, you can listen to our podcast instead of watching our VODs on Stitcher, iTunes, or SoundCloud. You can if you have any questions for me or Andrew, you can find me at my Twitter at FlubbDota, and you can follow Andrew at his Twitter at follow_AndrewS. And that's
also, don't ask me any questions about Dota, because I'm wrong. If you want the wrong answer, you can ask me.
Well, you can.
I will tell you.
You know about plenty of other stuff. I mean, honestly, if people want to know about getting their start in podcasting or anything that you're very knowledgeable about, I mean, this guy's really good.
Or if someone asks me if Lycan is good, I will say, yeah, buddy, and I'll be like, don't play my hero. No, I'm joking. In closing out, do you ever feel a certain affinity for a hero where when you see someone else play them, you feel a little jealous?
Pudge. There's a guy on
Pudge is yours. Pudge is yours.
Oh, yeah.
Flubb, really? Really, Pudge?
Yep.
Come on.
Obviously Pudge. Like if people aren't hitting like every hook, I my face is in my hands every time. Like
what I mean here is like when you see them select the hero, it's like you're at a dance with the wrong girl. You're like looking across, and she's like having a super good time with her date. Like I feel that way all the time about Sven. Like it's just like we belong together, baby. Like why didn't you realize that? You know.
Well, see, I play like so many different guys. It's kind of hard to. I'm trying to think here. Maybe. I guess maybe Night Stalker might be mine. Like there's very few heroes where I'm like that's my guy, but maybe Clock.
Yours are like the opposite of your personality too. Night Stalker, you're not a stalker of the night, and you're not Pudge. You don't hook people and eat them and stuff.
Well, I am a vampire. Like I am my skin is ginge, so you know that's pretty much a vampire, right? You know.
You don't have a soul, but you don't have like the super strength of a vampire. Like so, you get all the bad parts, but none of the good stuff.
Exactly.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. Glad to fill in lieu of Kimbrel, and let's congratulate him on someone wanting to marry him. No, I'm joking. But congratulations, Kimbrel, and thanks for having me on, Flubb. It's great to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Kimbrel, congratulations, man. Once again, I'm happy to have you, and I'm happy to have you next week, man. I know that you're really enjoying yourself out there, and I'm glad that you got to go out to Alaska, man. That's an awesome trip. So, you guys I'm glad that you guys are able to share the brew with us today. And I will catch you this weekend for the Flubb date at 9 Eastern on Sunday. Or you can always catch us next week on Friday. We'll switch up the time, probably back to 4:30 because Kimbrel will be with us. And that'll be it, guys. Catch you guys later.